modern fashion designers, you're welcome back to class. This is Modern Woman Apparel. I want to specially thank all my subscribers, and if this is your first time seeing us, you're highly welcome. Please join us by clicking on the subscribe button, turn on your notification bell so as to get notified whenever I upload a new video. Thank you. So guys, in today's class we'll be learning how to draft, cut, pad and sew a bustier with yoke. So at the end of this class you should be able to correctly draft a bustier with yoke with the right underbust and overbust tightening. You will also be able to know how to correctly tighten your yoke. The measurement we'll be needing for this class is the shoulder width, the shoulder to bust point, the bust circumference, shoulder to underbust, underbust circumference, shoulder to your front waist length, your waist circumference, shoulder to your back waist length. You also need your nipple to nipple, also known as bust span measurement. So guys, without wasting much of your time, let's get right into the tutorial of the day. So this is the basic line here. This is the shoulder line, which will also serve as the starting point, which means I'm taking all my vertical measurements from this line, and this is 12 inches from the shoulder to the bust point, 12 inches, shoulder to underbust 15 inches, shoulder to front waist length 18 inches. Know that you are working with your own measurement. Now this is a house scale pattern, which means you can use this to make a blouse, or you can also use it to make a gown. Now for you to use it for a blouse, all you need to do is to attach either your peplum or whatever you are using for the down part, and also for your gown, all you need to do is to attach your skirt pattern to this down part. I hope you understand. So having done this, what I'm going to do now is to get my shoulder width. So the shoulder width I'm working with is 15 inches divided by 2 will give me 7.5 here, and from here I'll come down by 8.8 inches for my armhole length. So this is my 8.8 inches. So how did I get this? I got it by dividing my bust circumference by 6 plus 1.5 plus an additional 1. So my bust circumference is 38 divided by 6 plus 1.5 plus an additional 1 will give me 8.8 inches. So at the point of 8.8 inches, what I'll do is to also make sure that my shoulder width divided by 2 is there. So this is my shoulder width divided by 2. And I'll connect, but before I do the connection, I'm going to come down here from the shoulder line by 1.5 inches. So we're using 1.5 inches for the front shoulder slope, and I'll connect. Please ignore this other point here, it's a mistake. Now what I also do after this is to rule the line here, which will serve as my chest line. So from here I will get my neckline. So I'm doing 4 inches on this part here as the neck width and 5.5 as the neck depth. Remember, you can do any neck style of your choice and any neck width and neck depth of your choice. So from there, what I'll do is to connect this shoulder slope to the neckline. After connecting this, what I'll do next is to get my bust span measurement divided by 2. So I'm working with a nipple to nipple of 8 inches divided by 2 will give me 4. So this 4 inches, I'll connect it up to the bust point, and I'll rule a line to connect the points. After this, what I'll do now is to go to my shoulder measurement. What is left here, I will divide it by 2 and make a mark on the midpoint here. So after that, I'll connect from this mark I made here to this bust point line. Next thing I'm going to do now is to rule my armhole cuff. You're supposed to rule it before this, but it's still the same. So I'll come here from this chest line here. This is the chest line CL. I'll go up by 3 inches. And from this mark of the 3 inches, I'll go in by 0.5 inches. So you can do between 0.5 to 0.75. From there, I'll connect. Now to get the other armhole cuff, what I will do is to come to this chest line and divide my bust circumference by 4. So I'm working with a bust circumference of 38 divided by 4 will give me 9.5. So I'll add half inch for ease. If you are not making use of a sleeve, you ignore this half inch. So I'll connect. after this, I'll come to this shoulder line here and determine where I want the yoke to start. So from here, I want to come down by 7 inches. So it all depends on what you want. You can do 6, 7, you can even come lower than this. All depends on what you want. And I'll make a mark there. Now I'll come to the under bust. Because I'm working with a bust of 38 inches, I'm supposed to do a dart intake of 2.5 inches. But because of my cup size, this is actually my pattern. I'm making this for myself and I'm busty. I normally use a dart of 3 inches for myself. So what I'm going to take now is 3 inches. So I'll come here. On this part here, I'll go in by 1.25. And on this part here, I will do 1.75. So making it a total of 3 inches. The same thing I did here, the same 1.25 I collected here. 1.25. And I also do the same 1.75 here. So if you're making for a bust of 38 and your client is not busty, you do 2.5. So the total width of this dart will be 2.5. You can take 1 inch on this side and 1.5 on this side. Now if you're making for a bust of 40 to 45, please do 3 inches, a total width of 3 inches. So you can decide to put 1.25 just like I've done, and 1.75 on this part. Now if you're making for a smaller bust of below 36, you do 1 inch here and 1 inch here. I hope you understand. So having done that, what I will do now is to connect. After connecting, before I do the curve here, what I will first of all do is to tighten my over bust here. So I'm working with a bust of 38 inches. I'll come here and do 1 inch here and 1 inch on this part. So if you're working for a bust of 38 and above, do 1 inch on both parts. But if you're working for a bust of below 38, you do 0.75 on both sides. I hope you understand. So having done this, what I will do now is to connect. So guys, after the over bust tightening, what we are going to do now is to make our under bust curve. Please watch how I'm placing my curve rule. Please, while drafting, make sure to use a pencil. I'm using a marker pen for the purpose of this tutorial. Please. Now, coming to this side, what I will do now is to place my rule on this part here, touching this over bust dart here. So, here. It must not necessarily get to this point to avoid sharp edge, please. So, I'll place it this way. And connect. I hope you can see what I did. So after this now, what we are going to do is to tighten the yoke, because you cannot leave the yoke this way. Mind you, we are not replacing what we have here. We can only replace the dart we have taken from the chest line down to the waistline. We are not replacing what we have on this over bust tightening, please. So because of that, we are also going to tighten the yoke. So what we are going to do is to come from here, put your ruler like this and connect. So this is it. So before we draw the curve here, what I'm going to do first is to replace all the darts we have taken from the chest line down. Now I want to quickly explain this. I got a lot of comment from our previous pattern class on Bustier with Queen Anne neckline, and so many people asked why I didn't replace the over bust tightening dart, if it was a mistake or not. Please, I didn't make a mistake on that class. You don't replace your over bust dart. Please do not replace the over bust dart. It is this way because you want to achieve a kind of grip on the over bust area. So please, you do not have to replace the dart you have taken from your over bust. So what I'll do is, starting from this chest line, I'm going to replace the dart I have taken. On this chest line, I'll measure what I have. So I have a dart of 1 inch here, and I'll replace it here. So remember, this is my bust circumference divided by 4. which is 9.5. I added half inch for it because I'll be making a sleeve with this. And this is the 1 inch dart here that I have replaced. I didn't replace the one here, please. Now I'll come to the over bust. I'm working with an over bust of 32. Divided by 4 is 8. And I took a dart width of 3 inches, so I'll replace the 3 inches. On this waist length line here, I'm working with a waist of 34. Divided by 4 is 8.5. I'll also replace the 3 inches dart here. And I'll connect. After this, what I'll do is to impute my bust dart. So the difference between my front waistline and my back waistline is 1 inch. So I'm going to come down here from the bust point here by 1 inch. So measure whatever you have. It can be 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5. Some can even be 3 inches. So whatever you have, come down from the bust point and make a dart there. So after this, what we are going to do now is to draw our sweetheart neckline. But if you're making use of a straight neckline, all you need to do is to place your ruler this way and just draw a line here, a straight line here. But because I'm making use of a sweetheart neckline, what I'm going to do is to come here, determine how low I want the cleavage depth to be. So what I'll do now is to come up here from this bust point line here by 1 inch. You can come down below the bust point. Some can even do theirs up to the under bust. It all depends on what you want. So from there, I'll connect with my curve rule from this dart leg here to this point. After connecting this part here, before I connect this other part, what I'll do is to slash here open to enable me close up this yoke tightening. So I'll slash this open to the bust point line. Now close this up. So after closing this over bust tightening, what I'll now do is to complete my neckline. And I'll open it up. So when I open it up, this is what I have here. So guys, as you can see, this is all for the front. Next is for us to cut this out. But before we cut it open, what we are going to do first is to close up the bust dart to enable the front and the back waist length to be equal. So after slashing through the bust dart, pick what you have and place it on this bust point line here. Use a tape and hold it down. After holding it down, you can see that these two lines are no longer matching. What you are going to do is to blend it. Also, after closing the bust dart, if you also notice that this bust point line here is no longer matching, you also blend. But for mine, you can see it's matching up. So what we are going to do now is to cut this out. Remember, we have not added any seam allowance to this. While transferring to fabric, we'll add all the necessary seam allowances. So to cut here, what you need to do is to fold this up. So this is it for the bustier part. So what we are going to do now for the yoke tightening is to seal it up. So open one of the dart legs here. And move the other part to it. So you can see what we have. And you tape it down. Please, this particular part is very important. Please always make sure you tighten your yoke. So you continue cutting. And after tightening, if you find out that this part here is no longer matching up, what you're going to do is to blend. So blend it. Now to finish this up, this is the bustier part and this is the yoke. We are not going to leave this yoke as it is. What we are going to do is to blend. See this part here, we are going to blend it up. So what we are going to do now is to place a fresh paper underneath this here, tape it down. After taping it down, on this point here, you come out by 0.25 here and blend. So after that, you cut, and that is all. So guys, this is it for the front part. Next thing we are going to do is to cut the back part. So guys, for the back pattern, as you can see, this is my center back. This is the CB. Note, this is not my zipper allowance. We'll be doing the zipper allowance much more later. And this is the shoulder line, which will also serve as my starting line. Now, first thing first, what we are going to get first is the shoulder width. So from here, remember I did a shoulder width of 15 inches. So 15, I'll divide it by 2, which will give me 7.5. Now from here, I'll do the same 8.8 inches I did for the front chest line. Remember, I divided my bust circumference by 6 plus 1.5 plus another 1 inch. So this is it. And here, I also measured the same 7.5 I have on the shoulder width here. Now, before I connect, remember for the front, we did 1.5. For the back, we are going to do 1 inch. So 1.5 for the front and 1 inch for the back. And from this 1 inch, I'll connect to this point here, and I'll rule my chest line. So this chest line, I'm ruling it down to this point. Having gotten this shoulder slope point, what I'm going to do is to measure my neck width. So my neck width is 4 inches like I did for the front. So I'll connect. For now, we'll still leave the back neck depth pending because you're going to do different necklines. So I'm going to show you how to get different style lines for your back. So for now, we're just going to leave the neck depth like this. So for the front here on the chest line, we came to this chest line here and went up by 3 inches. But for this back, we're going to divide what we have from here to here by 2. I'll make a mark on the midpoint here. And from there, I'll go in by 0.5. So you can do between 0.25 to 0.5. You can also connect from here, and you can go in by either 0.25 or 0.5. I hope you understand. So from there, I'll connect to the shoulder slope. After connecting, before I do the armhole curve, I also get my bust circumference divided by 4, which is 9.5 plus ½ inch for ease because I'm adding a sleeve to this. And I'll connect. After this, what I'll do now is to get my back waistline. So the back waistline I'm working with is 17, front is 18. That is how I got the bust dart of 1 inch. So the difference between my back waist length and my front waist length is 1 inch. Now what I will do next is to come here and do my back tightening. So I'm doing a back tightening of 0.75 here. So I'll come to this line here, this waistline here, and go in by 0.75, and from there I'll connect. So from this new line here, we're no longer making use of this line here. I hope you understand. So this is our new center back line. So from here, I'll take my dart. So I'm working with a bust span of 4 inches here. So from there, what I'll do is also to measure what I have from here to this dart line here. So I have about 4.75. I'll come here and do the same 4.75 and connect. After that, I'll do a dart intake of 0.75 on this side. So 0.75 on this side and 0.75 on this side. Remember, you can also use ½ inch or 1 inch. So it's between 0.5 to 1 inch. I'm using 0.75. Now connect like this. So having done this, what I'll do is to impute my waist circumference. So I'm starting from this new center back. So my waist circumference is 34 divided by 4, which is 8.5, and I will replace this 1.5 inches that we have taken. And from there, I'll connect to the chest line. It's time for us to determine the back style line. So what I will do now is to come down here by 1.5 inches here. For the one I'm doing, I'll connect. So for the back neckline, you can decide to go with a V-neck line like this. You can come down as much as you like. You can also decide to go this way. That is, the whole of this part is your back yoke. I hope you understand. You can also decide to do like this to bring it lower or higher like this. You understand? So whatever you want is totally up to you. You can do any design of your choice. I think for me, I'm going to go through with this. Just make it a little bit lower because I'll be attaching a button on this part here. So I'll just go with this. So the whole of this is where my button, this is for the button here. This is where my button will stay. So after this, what I will do now is to get my zipper allowance. Remember, we're no longer making use of these initial line. So this is our new center back here. This is our center back. So what I will do is from here, I will make my zipper allowance. So you can use the zipper allowance of your choice. And remember, it's not compulsory this must be straight. You understand? You can decide to come down here. You can decide to slant it this way. You can decide to slant it and bring this down here. I hope you understand. So whatever you choose is totally up to you. So I'll just clean this up and go through with my own neckline. So this is the zipper allowance here. So guys, you can see this is all for the back. What we are going to do now is to slash this open. Remember, no seam allowance has been added to this. We are going to add all the seam allowance on the fabric. So I'll cut this out. Now another thing I want you to take note of is where this your yoke will start. So you make a mark there so that while transferring to fabric, you make a notch there. So after cutting this out, this is what we have here. If you want, you can eliminate this dart on paper or you sew it on your fabric. For me, I'll be eliminating it on paper. So I'll slash it open this way. And close it up. So this is our back part, and for the front, by the time we join it together, this is what we're going to have. So guys, we'll stop here for this class. In the part 2 of the class, we'll be transferring this pattern to fabric with all the necessary seam allowances, and I will show you the proper way to cut out this yoke. And like I said earlier, you can decide to use your half length for either a blouse or a gown. So you can see mine, I used it for a blouse. So if you want to know how I made this beautiful blouse, come with me to the part 2 of this video. There will be learning how to transfer our pattern to fabric, how to pad our bustier, how to properly attach our yoke to the bustier, and this beautiful blouse from start to finish. You'll find the link to the part 2 of this video on the comment section. Thank you so much for watching. Please do not forget to subscribe for more interesting videos. Do not forget to like, comment and share this video. I'll see you in my next class. I am Modern Woman. Bye for now.